Hi guys, Steve Crawford from Experience Wealth, bringing you our Living and Lifestyle Index results for the 15-16 financial year. We're a financial planning and mortgage broking business working exclusively with people in their 20s, 30s and 40s all across Australia to solve their financial headaches and achieve their goals. The information in this video is general only, and therefore you should consider its appropriateness before making any decisions around your objectives, situations and needs. The Living and Lifestyle Index was started by us in 2013, and it captures anonymous spending and savings data from our actual clients. Using the Zero Cashbook program, it enabled us to help our clients initially set their starting budgets. What it also grew to be able to do was give them some context as to what their peers were doing around the way they manage money in terms of what they were earning and spending. And it's also become really handy to help them make big decisions like property purchases or working out how long they can afford to take off for maternity leave and goals like that. So what does our average client look like? Broken up typically into three different types. Both our clients are either employed, and we do have a lot of entrepreneur self-employed clients as well. Our first type of client we call our financially singles, in their early 30s, typically working in white-collar roles, living in Melbourne, Sydney's inner suburbs and Newcastle, more likely to be renting than owning property. Their focus is on making the most of the income that they earn. Our next type of client we work with is our couples, early to mid-30s. They've started to share living expenses and some lifestyle spending. They're either renting somewhere cool while they're saving up for their first property, or they've already got their first investment property typically, and they're still choosing to rent where they want to live. They might be starting to think about planning a family, and they would usually say they've got a decent combined income. Our last group is our families, the ones that I belong to, so mid-30s to early 40s, an average of 1.64 children. Both parents work, typically. Normally dad's 5 days and mum's either 4 or 5 days. Combined, they'd be on what would be called an executive level of income, usually about $200,000 up combined. They'll have a family home, absolutely with a mortgage still. They might be looking to renovate to make the house a bit bigger or to upgrade to something a bit bigger they can fit their expanding family in. One of their goals is about thinking through the education journey for their kids. So what do we include in the living and lifestyle expenses? So living expenses are all those costs associated with education, food, financial, health, housing, loan costs, transport, and utilities. Lifestyle, anything that's personal spending, entertainment, looking good, holidays, and presents. So the big picture, let's look at the results as they've come through over the past 4 years. So we've got the FY13 year on the left and the FY16 year on the right. In the blue bar, you can see living expenses. So for 3 years, fairly consistent in terms of total living expenses. Now this is as a percentage of take-home income. So this is across all our client groups combined, singles, couples and families. And you can see there not a big shift. In the FY16 year, though, we've seen the real impact of those rate reductions and rate drops that have flown through, come through over the past 12 to 18 months. And we've really seen with our clients in particular, the power of using things like offset accounts where the savings that they've been making on their interest has actually been building up in that offset account, which further reduces the debt that they have in the bank size, which further reduces the interest cost. So you can see the big shift here between FY15 and 16, where their lifestyle spending, which is in orange, has actually stayed identical. So these are all our clients, 2 years, from 1 year to the next, are spending the exact same percentage of their income on lifestyle. The only thing that's changed is what they're now saving in their living costs. They've added to their savings, which has seen it grow from the last 4 years, 18.3 to 18.7, up to 19.8, and then a big jump in the last 12 months, which we're really excited for all our clients for, to 23.6. Now again, this is an average, so we've had some clients that have saved more than this, some clients that have saved less than this. This is the average. So what's shifted over the last 12 months? So this graph shows a year-on-year comparison. Blue bars is the FY15 year, and the orange bars is the FY16 year. On the left-hand side, you can see the percentages, and this is showing what percentage of their income, take-home income, is allocated to each of these different categories. So if we go through each of the different bars, you can see that there's that lifestyle spend staying exactly the same. The total living expense has dropped, and therefore the total savings has increased. But if we look at the right-hand side of the graph, this is what this grey line represents, and that's the difference between the category from one year to the next. So if it's in this middle across here, then there's no difference at all, which is why lifestyle spending is staying exactly the same. And you can see the big living expense drop and the big savings increase. If we look at our living expenses, this is really the reduction, and where this big savings has come from has really come from two categories alone. The amount that our clients are spending on housing, which is their rent and home associated costs, and those loan and bank charges dropping down. So you add those two together, and that's largely producing this big reduction. Not a lot of shift in the utilities, you can see that there. Transport a little bit cheaper year on year. Health a little bit more expensive. Food down. Financials has gone up a lot, so this is probably a sign of the big increases in health insurances that our clients have been paying as well. Education stayed fairly flat. Moving over to lifestyle, our clients had 1% more fun this year on year, compared to 2015. Holidays a little bit less. Our clients spent almost exactly the same as what they spent the year before on clothes and everything to do with looking good. A little bit less on personal spending and a little bit more on presents, which is why that's balanced out at zero. Let's break it up and look at it by different category types here. So we've got our singles top left, couples on the right, families on the bottom. Let's go to our singles first. You can see the living expenses go up 3 years in a row, but then come off quite significantly. Lifestyle spending we've seen slowly decreasing over the past 4 years, and savings has sort of come down, but then had a big kick up. So our singles did a really good job this year of almost saving the entire drop in their living expenses. Actually, they did better than that. The living expenses dropped down, spending came down a bit, and savings went up. So a really good year for our singles. Our couples' living expenses went up a little bit this year, and their lifestyle spending, they had a fairly tight year last year in their spending, so that's gone up quite a bit this year, which has seen that savings result drop down. Families are our frugal families, which is our group that I'm involved in as well. Fairly flat for 3 years, but then a big drop in that living expenses, which has seen the savings increase year on year. Spending has stayed fairly consistent, as you'd expect with the families, because they've probably got less time to have a volatile lifestyle spending makeup. So now I want to move into the power of a couple of things, a money management program underpinned by a financial coach. So what we wanted to do is give you a comparison between what our average client has done over the last 3 years in terms of their savings versus the average Aussie. And the best source that we can get to show average Australian is from this website that you can see right here. And what that references is Australian Bureau of Statistics data around savings as a percentage of what they call disposable income. And disposable income is basically what hits your bank account every week or month. Two things to look at here is the gap in between what our clients have done and what the average Aussie's done, and also the trajectory. So you can see our average client for the last 3 years has increased their savings year on year versus the average Aussie who's actually reduced their savings year on year. And the question that we've got is what's sort of underpinning that, because we've seen that living expenses have actually dropped over the last 3 years, in particular over the last 12 months as those loan costs have lowered. So you'd expect the average Aussie to actually increase their savings as well, but that hasn't happened yet. And we're not really sure why that is. The only thing that we can put it down to is that maybe they haven't had the benefit of having a coach, which is what our clients have got to help them really make smarter, more confident decisions around how much they want to save of that extra money that's coming in. So let's do a bit of a comparison now. You've probably all seen those terrible compare the pair ads. Well, this is our version of that. And today I'm going to bring you our two identical types of average clients. So the average Aussie on the left, that's all greyed out because they don't really represent anybody other than the average of all of Australia. And then our average clients on the right, and they're full of colour and life. In both instances, we've just assumed a flat $80,000 salary across the whole 3 years that we're going to measure. And we want to see how they actually went. On the left-hand side, obviously the average Aussie is highly likely to be using a DIY approach, do it yourself, to managing their money. Our clients have had a personal financial coach working with them for the past 3 years. We've seen the average Aussie savings has actually decreased over the past 3 years, whereas our average savings per client has increased 3 years in a row. Still a good outcome though for our average Aussie. They've saved $16,637 of their money or their wages that have come through over those 3 years. In the same period though, our clients have saved on average $37,607 if they're on an $80,000 wage over that 3 years. Which results in our average client outperforming the Aussie average by about $20,000 over the same period. So there you have it, guys. That's our really high-level information about our living and lifestyle index results over the last 12 months. If you want to find out more, then you can book your time online now by clicking on this link through TimeTrade, which will take you through to our calendar for a quick phone chat. You can visit our website and you can book a time there, or you can pick up the phone and give us a call. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and we hope to speak to you soon.